Okay, so I've logged into Delta Math, and I'm going to scroll down to a couple of videos or a couple of the problems that I know I've seen you struggling with. So I believe 7-6 was one where you're struggling. It's the factor by grouping. You've done your difference of perfect squares. You did those two problems. But so then there's these factor by grouping. And it says here to factor completely. So how we do that, here's what we're going to look at. We're going to make a box. Okay. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. You're going to take each of these terms and they're each going to go in a square in the box. So I'm just going to use a different color here. So I have 4x to the third. I have minus 3x squared. I have minus 20x. And then I'm going to have plus 15. Make that a 20. There we go. Okay, so then what we do is we just look at what they have in common. So like this x to the third and the x right underneath of it, they both have x's. So I'm going to put an x above it. 4 and negative 20, 4 goes into negative 20. So I'm going to take the whole number 4 and put it up atop because 4 goes into both 4 and negative 20. And then what we need to figure out is what's going to go on the other side. So like right here, I have x to the third. Well, I have an x already, so I need an x squared. And that way this would complete the box, right? So 4x times x squared makes 4x to the third. And then it's a matter of just kind of working your way through. So x squared times what makes negative 3x squared. So I'd need the negative 3. And then for this last little bit down here, let's see here, I already have a 4, so I need a 4 times negative 5 makes negative 20, and I already have the x, so I don't need another one. Okay, so let's see, that'll let me just delete that little bit. Nope, okay, well that's fine. And so then we have, just to double check, does negative 3 times negative 5 make positive 15? And it does, so we've checked that out. So now if we want to submit our answer, I'm going to use the little toolbar here. Hide this. So I'm going to do parentheses 4x, and then it's just minus 3, and that'll close off that parenthesis, and then I'll have my other side, which will be x squared minus 5. And that's my answer. So I'm just going to hit submit. Yes. It's got a lot of stuff in there. And there we go. We've completed that assignment. Okay. Now they show it a slightly different way. They don't use a box, and I think that's just because it's easier for them to use MathType to type it instead of putting it into a picture. So let's try one more, just so we can see it. I'm going to erase all of this. Oops, maybe I'll erase it. Let's try that again. There we go. I got a little lag here. That's all right. And slowly but surely, let's see, where am I at? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so same deal. We're going to take each of these pieces and we're going to put them into a box. Okay, that's the easiest way to factor this because we've done these boxes in class before. So each first term, I know it doesn't really look like that. That says 16x to the third. And then we have our 64. I'm going to give myself a little more space here in the box because I don't have enough room. 64x squared. And then I have my minus 9x. And then my minus 36. Got a little lag, but that's okay. I think I put 36 there. There we go. Okay. So then we're going to try and factor this out. So does 16 and 9 have anything in common? 16 is 4 times 4, 9 is 3 times 3, so no, those are not going to have anything in common. But they do both have an x in there, so I'm going to put an x straight up on top. And then the 16 and the 64 are going to have, that's got 16 has to go into 64 because it doesn't go into 9. So there's my 16. and then I'm going to need an x squared in order to make x to the third. And so getting the first box is the hardest part. So now we need to know 16 times what makes that 64. And I believe that would be, let me just double check. I'm just going to do 64 divided by 16. And yeah, it's 4. So I get plus 4 there. So a positive 4 times a 16 makes that 64, and I already have the x squared. Here we have the x. We already had it, so we needed the negative 9. And then just to double check, does positive 4 times negative 9 make negative 36? Okay. So now here's going to be the fun part. We're going to write our answer. I'm going to just grab my little keyboard here. So I have x, oops, let me delete that there. I have x plus 4 is my first group. My second group, I have 16x squared minus 9. Now, here's the thing with this one. If I look at this answer, I can see that I could square root of 16 and I could square root of 9. And this has a subtraction sign in it, which means this is the difference of perfect squares. So I'm actually not done with my answer. I can rewrite 16x squared minus 9. So I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to write what the square roots of each of those are. So the square root of 16 is 4, and I'll keep the x. And the square root of 9 is 3. So I'm going to do a plus 3. And then I would do the opposite. I would do the negative version of that, which would be 4x minus 3. And that's where so that's 16x squared minus 9 is a perfect square. So I need to make sure that I'm careful and calculate that. I'm gonna hit yes, even though you can't really see. And there we go. So you can see that. So you want to be careful that you're calculating the difference of perfect squares in there. Okay, but it goes right into that box, and that's the easiest way to do it to help you out with those. Okay, so please try those again, and shouldn't take too long to get those done. Okay.